As Jerry Porter was fighting with Will Allen, injured in the first half, didn't miss a series, so the Raiders with a very quick 3-and-out.
That wasn't good. That was not good. I mean, especially a team that went into the half with momentum. That was not the series I expected from the Oakland Raiders. But the New York Giants are headed to the playoffs, and it's time for them to make a statement. And defensively, they did what they had to do in getting off the field.
Shane Leckler, because of a 3-week slump and the great year by Mormon in Buffalo, not going to the Pro Bowl. And speaking of slumps, bad kick there. Returnable for Morton from the 31. Looking for room, ran into his own man. Chad is taken down at the 44. Stuart Schweigert on the tackle. Each team 3-and-out on the opening series of the third quarter. See what the Giants can do after this.
I'm in.
Well, Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN comes to a conclusion with the Outback Bowl. Iowa and Florida. Should be a good one. Urban Meyer's Florida team against Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Your coverage will begin at a 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Special 90-minute edition of College Game Day built by the Home Depot. Chris Fowler, the Corso Kirk Street out in Pasadena, site of the national championship game between Texas and USC on Wednesday night. Eli Manning's pass is deflected and nearly intercepted. Bobby Hamilton, the former Seahawk, Jet, and Patriot, almost had the lineman dream a pick six.
I like Eli Manning's decisiveness, but he's got to do or Tiki's got to do a better job of getting the defensive end's hands down so you can throw that pass in the flat to your fullback for a gain of 5.
And that's something Tiki Barber is terrific at. Almost once a game, he knocks a defensive lineman or a blitzing backer or secondary performer down on the ground with his blitz pickups.
Yes, he does.
And he does them keeping windows open for his quarterback to throw. He's great at it. Now he hits the hole hard, and Barber pounds forward for a first down out at the 45-yard line, a pickup of 11. We're talking about ball security with Tiki in the first half. Show us in the here what he does.
And what he does is he's not using his arms for balance, but once he gets in traffic, watch him grab his wrist. And that helps him protect the football from guys either reaching for it on this side or coming around with the old punch out that we see week in and week out. It's a new way of holding the football that has paid huge dividends for Tiki Barber.
He has gone past Sean Alexander by 6 yards, heading for that rushing title. Runs it up in there. Add about 3 more to that total, maybe 4. It just looks so strange, but when you just think about the pure physics of it, how much of the ball is exposed when in the traditional fashion as you're carrying it horizontally as opposed to vertically, and then that second arm kind of handcuffing yourself up there.
Pins it to your body, Mike, and I think when the old way, the traditional way of holding it, guys with the reach around can pop it out, and I think you don't have that with Tiki Barber in the way that he holds the football that he actually stole from Ahman Green.
Officially a gain of 3 on 2nd and 7. Manning looking for Burris, and it's incomplete. Fletch was expecting that ball when he came out of his break, not deep, and Manning and Burris kind of look at each other, figure out the communication. Back to the Barber holding the ball.
You see the traditional way, 97-03 right here. People would reach around from the backside and be able to pop it out to his front.
But I see a lot of ball there.
Exactly, right. You do. But when you see right here the way he pins it up against underneath his arm, kind of under his armpit and his shoulder pad, and then grabbing his wrist, there's nowhere for the ball to move. Secured against his body, secured with his index finger over the point, and that's how he's able to hold on to the football so well.
3rd and 7 for Manning. Raiders show pressure. And we have penalty markers down as Manning just throws it away. And leads you to believe the Raiders were in the neutral zone. That play was not whistled dead before the snap. Manning was backpedaling, ready to take the direct shot, and just bailed out and threw it. And they threw that flag, I think, because they're saying that Manning
was in the pocket. Intentional ground.
And didn't throw past the line of scrimmage.
Both teams on the play. Offside, left defensive end. Intentional grounding. Number 10, the penalties will offset. Third down.
I think Tom Coughlin might be the hardest working coach on the sidelines that I've seen in some time. He's in every call, offensive, defensive, and every explanation from the officials on which was.
So we'll go back to third down.
Offsetting
and 7 on the offsetting flags. The officials just huddling one more time before they spotted the ball. They were looking at the spot. They're in the right spot now at the 42-yard line. Raiders bring pressure again. Manning screen to Barber. Got past the first tackle, but not the second. Very well defended by Rob Ryan's crew. Ed Jasper brought heat, backpedaled. The defensive lineman out of Texas A&M in his 9th year made the play to force fourth down.
Getting off the field on third down, the Oakland Raiders are still playing very inspired football, something they haven't done in the last 3 to 4 weeks. They scored 14 points, which is 4 more than they've scored in the last 3 or 4 weeks per game. So I'm impressed with the Oakland Raiders, and the New York Giants need to be careful by letting this football team hang around.
Jeff Feagles on to punt here. One Randy Moss home run shot away from being behind. Got in on Feagles there as he angles it for the sideline, and it goes out of bounds. The veteran doing a great job giving the Raiders a long field. It's out of bounds at the 7. So back to Randy Moss, obviously the focus of the Giants' defensive attention. Doug Gabriel's caught the balls. Randy does have one big one, though.
And remember, Mike, he's not 100% healthy, but who is at this stage of the game, but does a good job of getting back. They're on a little comeback route. Nice little shake move to get in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. He's not getting a lot of opportunities, but I believe that the Giants are paying a lot of attention to him because he is the focal point of the game-changing players that the Oakland Raiders have on offense, and that's why Doug Gabriel has been able to have the big night that he's had. 3 thrown, 2 catches. So Randy is not the Randy Moss that we're used to seeing, but creating opportunities for other players.
Rookie out of LSU, Corey Webster rolled up in coverage. Now reads run and comes in on Zach Crockett, who gains a couple into the waiting arms of Michael Strahan. 9th all-time in the NFL in sacks. You know, Michael Strahan has had such a phenomenal season this year for being in your 13th year and having 11.5 sacks. He has 11.5 sacks, 129.5 in his career.
Yeah.
And he's not #1 this season or on his team because Umenyiora now is at 13.5 with his sack. And, of course, he's chasing Lawrence Taylor, the Giants' all-time record holder, with 132.5 for a career. Second down, the pressure comes, and Collins is sacked. He did stay outside of the goal line. Hendrick Clancy, who twice now has come in and made a play behind the line, gets the sack there.
Well, there's your vertical passing game, Mike. There's your offensive line not being able. O.C. Umenyiora getting double-teamed. That means somebody's got a one-on-one, and here we have our sack. These guys do a great job of feeding off each other, collapsing the pocket, not allowing the quarterback position to either step up or to get outside to buy time for a throw.
And really, it ended up being a double team on Strahan as well. 4 different players were occupying the 2 Pro Bowl defensive ends. 3rd and 16. And they will throw from out of the end zone. The short one complete, and a huge hit by Kevin Lewis.
That's a play, Mike, to buy room for the punter to be able to take his normal steps, get his normal stance, and get a normal kickoff. That was not one of those they were going to hold the football and risk having a safety.
Well, if that was to buy room, that was like buying square footage in New York. That was expensive.
That was very expensive. And Lewis signed on the 26th, playing on the 31st, delivering on the 31st.
Leckler punting, as Sterling said, full space for the snap, gets it out, and the 2-time Pro Bowler gets his best kick when most needed. Morton returns from the 35. And he's brought down at the 41, just brings it back 6 yards. Shane Leckler, when needed, boots it 57 yards. Yeah, you need some oxygen. He wasn't a Giant as of Christmas Day. Comes in the day after. Comes up big. Lewis and the Giants defense hold the Raiders.
ESPN continues the year-end review with a look back at the top 10 games of the year. We watched the tapes over and over and came up with our own list. SportsCenter's top 10 games of 2005. Only on ESPN. And now, more great moments on ESPN. The year was 2004. The San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Lakers were locked in an NBA Conference semifinal. Tim Duncan scores a clutch point, only to be outdone by Derek Fisher. A celebration of sports memories from around the globe. Great moments on ESPN.
Giants push the Raiders backwards, thus New York is winning the field position battle here in the third quarter. Giants needing to win this game to guarantee a home playoff game next week at the Meadowlands. They will win the NFC East if they get this one tonight. Manning to the workhorse. The team MVP, Barber, escorted out of bounds at the 47. Depending on what happens tonight, what happens with Washington tomorrow and the Panthers and the Bucks, Dallas could be playing for the final playoff spot in the final game of the regular season when the St. Louis Rams visit. Coverage begins with NFL Primetime, 7:30 Eastern. The game, of course, available on ESPN HD. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire, Susie Culver, ringing in the new year in Dallas. They will join you tomorrow night to wrap up the Sunday Night Football run on ESPN. Barber carries, gets just shy of midfield. We look at the NFC playoff picture here just to reacquaint everyone as we go into tomorrow with about a half dozen games holding meaning toward the playoffs. The Buccaneers with a win will grab that 3 seed as they are ahead of the Giants for the moment via the tiebreakers. Seattle home all the way through. Chicago will be off the first weekend of the playoffs. And there you see Carolina, Washington, which needs a Raider win tonight, and then a Redskin defeat of Philadelphia tomorrow to win the East. 3rd and 3, pressure up the middle, and Manning is sacked. Knocked out earlier in the quarter. Tommy Kelly comes up with the first Oakland sack of the night.
Did a very good job of fitting in this gap control defense. Everyone is where they're supposed to be. Eli Manning has nowhere to go. Coverage downfield matches up with the pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, the Oakland Raiders come away with a sack.
Well, the Giants have not had much going offensively here in the third quarter, and Fiegels kicks it away. 44-yarder, Chris Carr from the 16, blocked in the back, it's coming back. It's a great return for Carr, but it will come back for a push in the back right at the point. It was an easy one. 33 on the return, it will be negated. I don't know if it was Denard Walker or Omar Easy who may have been the guilty party. Easy 33 is Joe Avezzano, one of the best NFL special teams coaches.
During the return, the illegal block in the back, number 25, receiving team, half the distance to the goal. First.
It was Walker. Avezzano unhappy with the flag. But watch him coming from the left side of the screen as he had the push on Curtis DeLoach to negate the 33-yard return.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Zina Garrison. More than a quarter of a century after Althea Gibson crossed the colour line in women's professional tennis, Zina Garrison followed in her footsteps. Garrison won 14 singles titles in 15 years, but more importantly, made contributions that helped players like the Williams sisters, who made their own mark on the game.
She didn't have a lot coming up. and she had to overcome often being shunned, being the victim of racism.
It didn't matter that I was one of the top juniors in the world. I still wasn't able to play at certain places.
Zena was thought of as being the, since Althea Gibson, the first African-American, female player that was really going to do something.
Zena Garrison did make it easier for Venus and Serena Williams. She showed people that, hey, I can come from Houston, Texas, I can be black, and I can challenge for major titles.
The Raiders were very upset with the call. Barely contact made, but a little was. So the push in the back foul sends Collins back to the field. Carey with a long field from the 7. Zach Crockett in the middle. He'll gain just a yard there. We'll have 2nd and 9. Sterling, before we get too far, as this game tightens up, as we mentioned, tomorrow night will be the final Sunday night football game on ESPN with our package moving to Monday night. Our hats off to Mike Patrick, who called almost every one of our Sunday night games, and Joe Theismann, along with Paul and Susie as well over the years. Jay Rothman and Chip Dean have done a great job. Fred Godelli and Mark Payton, who worked behind the scenes on the project, among many people. It's the proudest thing that we at ESPN have done over our 26 years, and our hats off to everyone as this great run comes to an end tomorrow night. Crockett with the carry, taken just shy of the 14-yard line. We'll have 3rd down coming up.
And they'll have a good one, too. They'll have a good game in Dallas. I mean, Bill Parcells will be edgy. He was this week when I talked to him, so he'll be edgy. He'll be short with his commentary. He won't, give those guys a lot. But in the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're going to come out and play very well. But Joe, Paul, Mike, Susie, it's been a pleasure watching them on Sunday night ESPN.
3rd and 2 coming up. That 7-yard carry by Crockett was the longest run of the night for the Raiders. When Oakland has moved it, it has been via the air. Collins keeping it on the ground with Crockett looking for the hard yards. Can't get there. Met in the hole by Nick Greisen, who has really bounced around this defensive linebacking core for the Giants with all of their injuries. He joins Justin Tuck up inside there, and we'll see how close they are on 4th down.
Wow, I mean, you just come off a 7-yard run, a nice, positive, power 7-yard run. So you go back to a similar play and you can't get a yard. I mean, that definitely shows the Oakland Raiders season on those 2 plays right there, Mike. Every time they take a step forward, they end up taking 4 to 7 steps backwards.
You see the Raiders without a 1st down via the run, and they're a good 1.5 feet short here, and we'll kick it away. And these fans who brave the interstates closed because of the flooding rains and have seen their Raiders win 13 games the last 3 years voice their displeasure.
I mean, their displeasure is they're watching a game that, I mean, they're not seeing it. Why would we come back? Why do we need to stay Raider fans? And they're not getting that from the Raiders.
Fleckler's 3rd punt of the 3rd quarter. Another good one. Good hang time as well. Morton from the 39 makes one man miss, and another. Morton explodes down the sideline. Chad Morton picking up blocks. Gets one from DeLoach at the 5, and he's pulled down at the 2-yard line. Justin Fargas saved a touchdown, but a great return from Chad Morton puts the Giants in their 1st and goal. So the bench Curtis DeLoach comes up with the big block on special teams.
Wow. Set it up. Great patience by Chad. And then returners find the holes quickly, and then it's just down the sideline. 1 man to beat. And that's a great play by Justin Vargas. Make them line up and play offense. Another play, anything can happen.
Wow, so just think about the 2 special teams plays there. That was a net -12. A punt of 46, returned 58 after the Raiders had a good return on a close call, but certainly an unnecessary block. There was no need to even look for contact.
Yes.
Was wiped away with the push in the back flat. 1st and goal. Eli Manning trying to exchange personnel to get everybody in the right spot. Jacobs is in there. He pounds to the goal line. It'll be a yard shot.
nice job by Eli, keeping his cool, getting his teammates lined up in the proper spot. That's a very nice job by him, and he is doing a fantastic job this season, I think, of learning how to manage a football game. And managing a football game is not a bad term. And I know a lot of people here, you know, we in TV use the word manager a lot. It's not a bad term. He does what his offensive coaches want him to do. He gets them out of bad plays. His completion percentage should be a little higher, but he does a great job of throwing the football away or taking a sack when he needs to.
Jacobs has 6 rushing touchdowns this year. They go back to the rookie who cuts back and into the end zone for a Giants touchdown. Penalty marker down. The marker was thrown by an official who signaled touchdown. It's usually a sign that the touchdown will stand. Let's see.
Offsides? Defense?
The headlinesman threw the flag. I beg your pardon. It was the second official who came in, standing right next to him.
Offside.
Yep.
Number 59 lined up in the neutral zone. Penalties declined. It is a touchdown.
DeLawrence Grant in there on the goal line defense. So Morton's big return does it. Another big play for the Giants. 3 plays of over 55 yards. The 58-yard punt return by Morton. The 78-yard touchdown to Burris. The 95-yard run by Tiki Barber. Big plays have the Giants looking to go up 13. As Jay Feely adds the extra point. Brandon Jacobs, he was the hot guy in New York, the star of the season at the start, the talk of the town. Kind of hit a quiet patch here a little bit. Only 1 touchdown in the second half of the season. But Chad Morton gets the gold star here. Great weaving through traffic on the 58-yard return. Jacobs' 7th rushing touchdown. The Giants closing in on the East title. Sterling, it is a sport and a game, especially this time of year, of making the big plays. A couple of snaps make a difference in so many games, and there you go tonight.
It's funny looking at what you're showing me on the screen here, Mike, and then listening to Tom Coughlin the other night tell us that it was 5 plays in the Washington game, and which was interesting. Those 5 plays were all made by Santana Moss, but those 5 plays definitely set the tone for them last week, and the Giants bounce back this week with big plays of their own.
And Vintage Coughlin just sat there and said, the big play, 72, 59, 17, 12, and 9. It was almost, it was ingrained in his mind, the yardage of those 5 plays, and he said it that fast, too. It was just so on his mind that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, but Mike, we didn't talk about the Washington game, though. You know, we was just looking forward to the Oakland Raiders, but we didn't talk about the Washington game, but those 5 plays made a difference.
Jay Feely to kick off. This is a line driver that Gabriel lets go to Carr. The rookie picks it up at the 12. Nice job through traffic by Carr, who gets it out to the 36-yard line. Jay Foreman made the tackle. SportsCenter 30 at 30 with Chris Berman.
Thank you very much, Mike. The Denver Broncos finished 13-3, 3 touchdowns for Tatum Bell as they beat the Chargers in San Diego. 23-7 big game for San Diego native John Lynch. On his 21st birthday, 30 points for LeBron James. He leads the Cavs over the Pistons, handing Detroit only their 4th loss for the NBA season. We'll see you tomorrow on Countdown at 11 a.m. Eastern, prime time at 7:30 Eastern. Mike, Sterling, I think you'll be watching that one. I hope you will.
We will, Chris. Happy New Year. Collins throws on first down, carries pass, is complete to Jerry Porter out to the 45-yard line. First down pickup of 16. Jabril Wilson, the strong safety.
And getting back to getting Kerry Collins in a rhythm. And he is starting to. Jerry Porter slides inside of a cover 2 corner, feels his way into the void, and allows himself, presents himself for a beautiful throw by Kerry Collins. Ball, very tight spiral, easy to catch. Jerry Porter, Kerry Collins on the same page, big completion, and a first down.
to the air. Strahan is blocked. The throw is caught by Moss. Touchdown Raiders. Wow. A bust in the Giants secondary between Wilson and the rookie corner Corey Webster. Randy's second of the night, and every time the Raiders are ready to slam the suitcase and head to vacation, they respond.
Mike, this is a beautiful play by the Raiders for the simple fact that Kerry Collins is looking at the corner route being run by Albus Whitted right there, and because he did that, you saw the safety blast Whitted. Randy comes up the field on the fade route, clearing it out. Outstanding throw and catch. Got us a big play. Raiders are back in this football game, Mike. They will not go away.
And that says a lot, too, at this point in the season, Sterling. Here's Janikowski to make it a 6-point game. Most of what you read and hear, it's a foregone conclusion that a coaching change will happen. I always challenge that with, well, how many guys are out there to hire right now? In any case, one thing that happened when Bill Callahan was being ushered out after his 2 years with the Raiders, and even back to Joe Bugle off the 4-win seasons they had at the end, it's like the players were ready to drive them to the airport across the street from the facility and say, okay, get out. All the players talked about how much they like Norv Turner, many of the offensive players especially, and so that a few of them, including Kerry Collins, they'd like to see Norv Turner stay as the head coach. And I bring that up because these guys haven't shut it down on Norv and their teammates in this shut-it-down situation.
They have 4 wins, and I like what Kerry Collins told us, Mike. He said that we are better than our 4 wins, or we're playing better than our record would indicate, and the losses that we have are not on Norv. And, you know, Norv has a bad record in the division, has a bad record overall, but these guys, what they're showing you tonight on a night where they could have easily packed it in, got nothing to play for. I don't ever buy into you're playing for a job for next season, because these guys are in the National Football League, and 99% of them will get jobs somewhere else. But the Oakland Raiders are showing resiliency and fight, and that has to go to head coach Norv Turner.
Janikowski with the kickoff, another high short one. Morton's last touch, a big return. Another big return, 34 yards, brought down just shy of midfield by Tyler Brayton. Back to Moss's touchdown.
You know, Mike, a very good design because you got a sail route. You got the tight end that's going to the corner. You got a guy in the flat and Randy going up the sideline. You see the safety jump the tight end going to the corner. That allowed Randy Moss to get on the outside. And this ball is being thrown to Randy, but the safety is reading the tight end. He jumps him, allows Randy to go down the sideline. Now, Randy doesn't look like he's running, but he's doing his job. His job is to clear the outside guy. Kerry Collins is reading the corner. If the corner sinks, you throw the ball over the top. The safety just took a bad angle.
First and 10. Here is Barber. Good patience by Barber to get it to the 45, gain of 6. Boy, it has been forever since Randy Moss has had a multiple touchdown catch game in the regular season. October 10 of 04 with the Houston Texans, going back a span of 28 games. Inactive for a few of those last year in Minnesota. He did have a 2-touchdown performance in the playoffs against the Packers last year, but been a long time, first time as a Raider. 2nd and 5. Burgess coming in on Manning, knocked the football out. It's free. Giants got it back. So Burgess, the sack leader, didn't come up with one. Nearly came up with a turnover. But the Giants able to recover.
He loves to be in one-on-one situations. Good. Got the hands down, and look at the closing speed. Look at the closing speed and the ability to cut on a corner. Look at him corner to get back to the quarterback. Gets the ball out, ball on the ground. Outstanding pass rush by the NFL sack leader, Derek Burgess.
He beat Kareem McKenzie, whose fellow offensive lineman David Deal saved the turnover. Deal recovered it. 3rd and 8. Burgess, top of your screen. Manning throws. Plexico Burris pulls it out of the sky. First down in front of the rookie Stanford route to the 32. Pickup of 17.
You know, when you blitz a quarterback and he has that kind of time to throw, it's going to always be a completion. And Plexico Burris is a very cute route runner. Look at the little subtle hesitation because he knows he's running an out route. need to buy some time for his quarterback who's hanging in there versus the blitz. And look at the technique. He got his left toe pointed at the target, got his arm over, shoulder coming off the mound. That's why the ball was thrown accurately, and that's why it was complete.
Barber running on first down into the middle. Get just to the 29. Trudell Sands in there in the middle. Remember, no Warren Sapp, who was injured in game 10. And North Turner said it was an outstanding season. They haven't won a game since Warren Sapp went out. End of 3 in Oakland. The last game of the year is a game.
The NFL is the world's top league of American football. Here's the breakdown. There are 32 teams divided into 2 conferences, the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference. Within each conference lies 4 divisions. Each team plays 16 regular season games. Let's use the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots from the AFC East as an example. They play each team in their division twice. That's 6 games. 4 games are against a pre-selected division of their conference. 4 against a pre-selected division of the opposing conference, and the remainder against teams in their conference in other divisions that came in the same place as them. For example, since the Patriots came in first in the AFC East division, they will play the first place teams from the other AFC divisions. In each conference, the 4 division winners advance to the playoffs. In addition, the 2 teams with the next best records from each conference advance to the postseason as wild cards. The champions of each conference meet in the Super Bowl.
Fourth quarter begins here in Oakland. Here is the story again. A Giants win or tie. And yes, Jim Moore, we have checked all the tie scenarios tonight. Giants will win the division. If the Redskins lose tomorrow, the Giants win the division. But if the Giants lose here tonight, it puts Washington in control of their own fate and will then send the Giants, if that scenario on the bottom plays out, on the road for a playoff game next weekend. If they can hold this 6-point lead, the Giants will be home at the Meadowlands for the opening weekend of the NFL playoffs next Saturday and Sunday.
It's important, Mike, for the football team of the New York Giants to be at home for the playoffs. They do not play very well on the road. Eli Manning has not played very well on the road. They definitely need to be at home in that big-time arena for some success.
By the way, on the fumble before, they did credit Derek Burgess with a sack, so he did set the regular season Raider record for sacks. Manning throws through the hands of Burris as this fourth quarter begins with rookie first-round draft pick out of Nebraska, Fabian Washington, there on coverage. Hey, we got Washington, Stanford Rout, a couple of rookies there. Schweigert in his second year. Kirk Morrison, who's been on the field a lot for the Raiders throughout this last month of the season, a linebacker out of San Diego State. The Raiders have drafted well here the last couple of years.
Yeah, but they need to leave a coach in place long enough for those guys to grow up and be players for them.
And you think the coach should stay in place?
I think North Turner should be the coach of the Oakland Raiders next season.
3rd and 6 for the Giants. Manning hit as he nearly threw a pick 6 to Schweigert, and Eli took a hard shot and is scraped up off the turf. Stanford Rout with the corner blitz nearly got his buddy Schweigert a pick.
And it was motion, blitz to motion, Mike, which you very rarely see. You see Eli's leg gets caught underneath him a little bit because of the hit from the backside. And boy, if Stuart Schweigert could have caught that one, this football game would be really interesting right now.
Slippery turf, 47-yard field goal coming for Jay Feely, who after the disaster of 3 consecutive misses against Seattle has righted the ship pretty well. Bends this one right down the middle and knocks it home. Good from 25 and 38, now 46. 3 made field goals. He has tied Ali Haji Sheikh, 35 field goals, equaling a Giant single-season record.
ESPN NFL Special brought to you by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. New Campbell's Chunky Fajita Soups. Hearty soups that fill you up right. Toyota, choose any direction as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward. And Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Final hour and 14 minutes of 2005. Got that Stuart Scott New Year's Eve at the Hard Rock in Times Square coming your way as soon as we're done. Giants looking to make it an exciting New Year's Eve. One more thing for the Revelers to enjoy at Times Square and all around the tri-state area. Now the Raiders need to score twice, 30-21 after Feely's third field goal of the evening. Doug Gabriel joining Carr back deep. This is the deepest kick of the last 6, and Chris Carr goes from the 5. To the 24, short return there. Special teams tackle by James Butler. And Sam Ryan, we have a flag down, so as we check that out, let's check in with you.
Yeah, well, Mike and Sterling, a scary moment for Eli Manning there when he went down. He limped off the field, went right to the bench. The medical staff checked out his right knee. He was moving it, bending it. Tim Hasselbeck quickly got up, started warming up, but then Eli jumped up, and they're telling me he's okay. He's going to go back out there.
Getting a re-kick here, Sam. Hasselbeck only saw action at the very end of a couple of games, the fourth quarter when they blew out Washington, and then took the last 2 knees in the opener against Arizona. He has not played much. He had wonderful things to say about Eli Manning and just how in control and composed he is for his second year in the National Football League.
I